Hey everybody, it's Jim from Cigars, and I'm out in my cigar hut enjoying an Oliva Master Blends 3 today, and it's kind of a good lead into the video I'm doing today. I hope it's the first in a series of deep dives into various cigar brands, and some of these cigar companies have just this fascinating history and kind of gives us a perspective on how we end up smoking the cigars we smoke today. So for each one of these videos, I'm going to give a little bit of history, but then also talk about the various brands that they offer. I'm going to try to move it along quick. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get going. The history of the Oliva family in the cigar business actually goes back all the way to 1886. Melanio Oliva was a tobacco grower in the famous Pinar del Rio region of Cuba. That lasted all the way to 1959, when there was another generation of the Olivas farming, and that was Gilberto Oliva. In 1959, the Cuban Revolution, Castro took over and nationalized all of the farms, so the Olivas found themselves without a farm. This is the first of many times that the Oliva family had to scramble and adapt to keep in business. But Gilberto became a tobacco broker, so he was selling Cuban tobacco to other countries and also selling tobacco from other countries around the world. So he managed to do that from 1959 until 1964. Finally, he said, all right, I've had enough, and he fled Cuba. He landed briefly in Spain, but ended up in Nicaragua. And the reason he liked Nicaragua is he said there was no other country that matched the growing conditions for cigar tobacco more closely to Cuba than Nicaragua. So the Oliva family farm in Nicaragua thrived quite a bit and grew a lot of tobacco, and they fortunately stored a lot of it away and aged it, because then another revolution hit them, and that was the Sandinistas. And that happened in 1979, so again the Olivas had to flee the country that they lived in, and they continued to grow tobacco. They grew it in Honduras and Costa Rica and even the Philippines. When the Oliva family came back to Nicaragua in 1995 after their 16-year exile, they sort of hit a stroke of luck because they had a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco aging, and also there was an exploding market in the US for cigars at that time that was not being met by the major cigar makers. So the Oliva family made the decision at that time to expand into producing cigars as well as growing the tobacco. They've had some success and had some growing pains for about a decade. In 2005, they made the decision to revise the line to somewhat close to what it is today, with the V and the O and the G as the starting points for that. And the V took off very rapidly, got great reviews, and became very popular. And that's sort of got the ball rolling for the Oliva that we know today. In 1995, when they first got started, they were producing a few million cigars a year, but now they're into the tens of millions. There was a big change in 2016 when Oliva Cigars was acquired by a company called J. Cortez out of Belgium. And they're a big maker of machine-made cigars in Europe. Since that time, the J. Cortez company has changed their name to after the family that owns it, which is the Van der Lemers family out of Belgium. Good news is things really haven't changed in terms of the operation of Oliva. The family is still pretty much running the farming and the production of cigars in Nicaragua. So the story of Oliva Cigars really is, after a lot of change and adaptation and strife, they managed to stay in business, and we get to benefit by smoking Oliva cigars. So let's take a quick walk through the Oliva product line, but I also want to give you some thoughts on what I think are the Oliva must-tries, and also some that you should maybe consider. Of course, we're all familiar with the Series V Melanio, Series O, and Series G, and those are really the mainstay of the Oliva line. Also, the Connecticut Reserve, which is their Connecticut shade offering, and Master Blends 3. Master Blends 3 is an interesting story. It was meant to be a limited edition cigar. It became so popular and so much in demand that they put it into regular production. Another line of Oliva cigars that we shouldn't overlook, but we're really not going to delve into as much as it probably deserves, are nub cigars. Nub is really a broad line of cigars that are based on shape, which is about 60 gauge by about 4 inches. Some of them are box press, some of them are round, but by and large, they're short, squat cigars with a whole variety of different options. Cane is another interesting part of the product line that's often overlooked. There's actually 4 different offshoots of cane: a black label, a white label, an orange label, and a red label. The Gilberto Oliva brand consists of only 2 versions, a Sumatra wrapper and a Connecticut shade wrapper. There are some other Oliva cigar brands as well, and although they carry the Oliva name, they are really seller-specific exclusive brands. You'll find those available on a limited basis from certain online sellers. Let's take a look at the Oliva cigars that, in my opinion, are must-tries. I would start with the Series B Natural. That's the cigar that put Oliva on the map. Full-bodied, excellent cigar, gets enormously high ratings. Definitely want to try if you're a full-bodied smoker. Also very, very popular is the Series V Melanio. And I would recommend both the Natural and the Maduro. Actually, I prefer the Maduro. I think the Series V Melanio, either the Natural or Maduro, are some of the very, very best cigars on the market. Last on my list is the Master Blends 3. That's a Maduro cigar. And when I go on social media, I notice that it has a huge loyal following of fans. Here's some other Oliva brands that I think are a little bit overlooked, but are also worthy of consideration. One, of course, is Nub, and there's a lot of different options available, as I mentioned before. Series O, it comes both in Natural and Maduro, and I actually prefer the Maduro version, but it's a medium to medium full-bodied cigar. It's a very pleasant smoke. Series G also comes in Natural and Maduro, but I really recommend the Natural. The Cameroon wrapper is a little sweet and really gives that cigar an interesting flavor. Cane, as I've mentioned before, has 4 versions, and I've tried them all, and the one that I really like is the Habano Straight Ligero. In terms of construction, that I've never had a problem with. It's an amazingly built cigar, pretty good price point, medium full cigar, and it has really good Ligero flavor. The marketing story on the Cane Straight Ligero Habano, it features tobacco from the 3 main growing regions of Nicaragua. That's all I got for today, but let me know in the comments what you think of this series. I would like to do deep dives on various brands, and also if you have any suggestions on brands you'd like to see me do this with, let me know that too. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.